Okay, so we have this map. Okay, this is stoichiometry world. It's chemistry world, all right? And what you see on this little map is everything that you need for stoichiometry, believe it or not, okay? And it's the ideas that you need for it, right? So I want to zoom in real quick to the different parts of this map. So what we're going to start with is we're going to look at particle city. All right, so particle city is everything that had to do with particles, right? All of the funny chemistry words. So in the last chapter, we saw that we could convert to these particles by doing, hold on, where's my pen? There it is. Okay, by doing stuff where we had Avogadro's number, right? So what you see right here is that you have to ride the Avogadro Express to travel to it or away from it, all right? It's a city, so it's really cool. Anyway, so we have that up in the corner, okay? With this Avogadro's Express, we also saw that when we are traveling away from particles, whoa, that is not what I wanted. Hold on, let me change to a marker. There we go. All right, when we were traveling away from particle city, okay, then we knew that we had particles on top, particles on bottom. So we had to divide by Avogadro's number, right? When we were traveling to particle city, we had to multiply by Avogadro's number. That's what we saw in the last chapter, right? And honestly, I hope you guys didn't sit there and memorize what you have to do when you travel away and to, because I think it's silly. You bring your words down to the right and then you know where numbers go, right? That's kind of the concept that we use, but that's what we had, okay? So we learned how to ride that Avogadro's Express. I'm going to zoom all the way down here to the bottom. We're going to go to Gramland now. Gramland has to do with obviously mass. It's off the map, sorry. But Gramland, right? Gramland had to do with grams. That little conversion that we had was the molar mass. So anytime that you're traveling to Gramland or away from Gramland, you have to ride the molar mass carriage. And what we saw was that when we were traveling away from Gramland, right? We had mass and we brought mass down to the right. So we were dividing by molar mass. Whenever we were traveling to Gramland, we had to multiply by molar mass. But once again, as long as you're bringing your words down to the right, you didn't have to memorize those two facts, okay? All right, so we have these two things. And then we saw, so let me zoom out just a tiny bit. We saw that there is absolutely no way to go from particle city down to Gramland, right? There is no special road over here. You had to do a conversion through the mole. You had to convert to the mole first, and then you converted to whatever you needed, right? So the mole town sits right here in the center of it all, okay? All right, and then a little side note, there's also a farmland over here. It's Volumeville. There's a lot of pigs and cows that live there because they're very gassy. And so we're going to deal with that when we get to gas laws, all right? But they ride the B-22.4. Yes, it's a bomber plane, but that's the best that I could come up with. All right, so there is a conversion here. But once again, if we take a step back from all of this, if we look at the whole thing, there is no connection between these little outside parts. Everything is based around Moletown. Moletown sits in the center of it all, just like in stoichiometry. The mole sits in the center of it all, okay? So we're going to focus in on Moletown today. That is what we're looking at. So I need to give you a little bit of information about Moletown. Moletown is a little rural town. It's like, little parts outside of San Antonio or whatever. But when you go to, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say outside of San Antonio. Let's just say it's like San Antonio, right? When you go to San Antonio, or if someone visits you from out of town to San Antonio, where do they tell you they want to go every single time? Like, has anybody ever had to deal with visitors? They always want to go to like the river walk, right? And you're like, oh, we got to go to the river walk again. Or they want to go see the Alamo, or they want to go see the little tower. Like, they want to go downtown, okay? And so every single time you come to San Antonio, you have to go there, right? Well, every time you come to Moletown, you have to go to the Mole Bridge. You have to cross the bridge. I mean, that is what you have to do. So anytime you enter Moletown, you're like, I got to go to the bridge. We're gonna go across that bridge, all right? And so this bridge, the reason it's so special is because it's magical. And basically what we see happen when you're crossing this bridge is you start out as something and you end as something else, right? So you cross the bridge, you are crossing it to change characters. But you're still in Moletown, so you're still dealing with moles. But we are going to cross this bridge. We're going to use that thing called the mole ratio that we started talking about yesterday. That's where we're using those coefficients, okay? So on your Schoology screen, you do see this map, and it's kind of there to just remind you that this is what we're basing this off of. Today, we're staying in Moletown. We don't have to worry about any of the conversions, so you don't have to worry about writing the Avogadro Express or molar mass carriage. Like, you don't have to worry about any of that today. You just got to make sure you cross the bridge the right way in order to change your character, okay? So you see that I put A and B here. The image that you have on your Schoology screen, so let's go ahead and open up that folder if you haven't done it yet. But on your Schoology screen, let's keep going, keep traveling. There we go. All right, so you have the video from yesterday that I said you should probably watch. That way you hear it one time. And she also explains it a little differently, so you can also use her way. That's perfectly fine. I think it's great. So this is what I put here, though. Okay, so here's the map. So just know we're only dealing with Moletown today. Okay, and I'll keep giving you this map because it helps to kind of have a route when we start giving you the crazy units and stuff. Okay, but for today, what we're focusing in on here is we basically are just doing a conversion mole to mole calculation. So we always start with what we're given, right? I told you yesterday, you bring down that easy point. Always start with what's given to you in the problem. You also notice that I went ahead and I put a triangle and I put a square on this image, right? And I told you triangles are the reactants, squares are the products. It doesn't have to be the reactants and products. You can have two reactants that we're looking at, right? But what I'm telling you is that this is a character, this is a different character. So when you cross that bridge, you start as a triangle, you end as a square, okay? So what you see in the process is that once you put down what we have given, we're going to bring that word down to the right. So you see mole, don't worry about the word ratio, but moles of triangles, right? So mole, there's that double label, mole of whatever you start with, right? And then you turn into mole of whatever you're wanting to turn into. So square goes on top. So you have this here to kind of refer to. It's also in your assignment. So if you would like, go ahead and join me on the assignment right now. We're going to kind of switch screens over there. So go ahead and open up your assignment. I'll kind of give you a couple tips and pointers, maybe save you a little bit of time. And then you will kind of handle the rest, okay? So just like we did yesterday where I gave you like one or two of the questions, and then that at least gets you started, and then you can finish it after we get off, okay? So there's that image again, just one more time. Don't focus too much on given right here because I feel like it's going to make you put this number down here, and that doesn't belong there. This right here, this is the mole bridge. This is the mole ratio. Oh, by the way, whenever you see me put this little bracket thing there, I'm trying to tell you that's the mole ratio. You will see it in every single one of my stoichiometry calculations. I will put in a nice little bracket when you cross the bridge. You have to have a bridge in every single calculation because you visit Moletown, you got to go see the bridge, right? Okay, so just keep that in mind. You're going to keep seeing that, okay? All right. Let's go to, I have to erase because since we're in the same thing, it's going to bring it over to the next question. So go ahead and go to number 2. Number 2 is balancing. I'm making the decision right now that I'm not going to help because this little video right here gets you started, okay? The only one that I'll help you with, because you guys are all on the Zoom call and you did a great job of joining me today, is we'll do the P4 one, all right? So you can do the top one with the video, but I'll do the P4 one because it's ugly. So if I have P4 over here, we'll go line down the middle method, okay? So if I have 4, so we have phosphorus and hydrogen. I have 4 on this side, 1 on this side, 2 hydrogens, 3 over here, right? Okay, so right here, we obviously see this issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a 4 over here. So now I have 4 phosphoruses and 12 hydrogens, okay? Once I have the 12 hydrogens over here, I need to change that 2 to a 12. I see that now, like when we do line down the middle, it saved us so much room. I should have done that for second period. All right, so we're going to put a 6 right here because 6 times 2 gives me a 12. And now we have to put a 1 right there. So you should have a 1, 6, 4. And then you can handle the other 2. Okay? Yeah? Okay. Okay. Next. And I do apologize. I always have to erase it since I'm using a different way to write. Okay. Let me actually